Forget carrots. This tiny seed repairs eyes better than drops. I'm Dr. Alina Serratia, and if your eyes feel dry, tired, gritty, or blurry by the end of the day, I want you to hear this before you reach for another bottle of drops. Nearly 16.4 million adults in the United States live with dry eye disease, and the risk goes up after age 50. That means millions of people wake up with burning, scratching, red eyes, and think it is just part of getting older. But what if the real issue is not that your eyes are simply old? What if your tears are weak, unstable, and undernourished? And what if one tiny seed deserves more credit than carrots for that specific problem? Stay with me, because today I'm going to separate hype from truth and show you what science actually says. I also need to be honest from the very start. I've reviewed the big viral videos on this topic, as well as other high-view eye health videos from channels like Dr. Eye Health and Motivational Doc. The most successful videos use bold promises, fast symptom-based language, and simple food routines. However, many of them blur the line between support and repair. When I looked at medical sources, the strongest evidence did not show that a seed can reverse cataracts overnight or replace medical care. The more defensible claim is narrower and more useful. Certain seeds, especially flaxseed, may help support tear quality, reduce surface irritation, and complement dry eye care over time. Here's why this matters right now. Dry eyes are not just a comfort issue. It can blur your vision, make reading harder, make driving at night more stressful, and turn screen time into a daily battle. The National Eye Institute says dry eye can happen when your eyes do not make enough tears, when tears evaporate too fast, or when the tear film simply does not work the way it should. Think of your tears like a 3-layer shield on a windshield. If the watery layer is low, the glass dries out. If the oily layer is weak, the moisture evaporates too fast. If the surface layer is unstable, the whole shield breaks apart. That is when you feel burning, stinging, light sensitivity, and that on and off blur that clears for a second when you blink. And this is where many people get stuck. They use drops again and again, but never ask why the surface keeps drying out. Artificial tears are useful. I want to be clear about that. For many people, they are the first line of help, and for mild, dry eye, they can make a real difference. But drops mostly work from the outside in. They coat the eye for a while. They do not automatically fix the reasons your tears break apart so quickly in the first place. If your tear film is unstable because of inflammation, poor oil quality, meibomian gland trouble, screen habits, airflow, dehydration, or nutrition gaps, then relief may stay temporary. That is why so many people say the drops help, but only for a little while. Have you ever noticed that your vision can feel worse in the morning, better after a blink, then blurry again by evening? That is often a clue that the eye surface is drying out and becoming uneven. Imagine trying to look through a kitchen window after the protective coating has worn off. Light does not pass through smoothly. It scatters. Your eyes feel tired faster. Reading labels becomes annoying. Headlights seem harsher. Some people blame age alone. Others blame one long day. But the biology is often more specific than that. The tear film is breaking up too quickly, and your eyes are paying the price minute by minute. Now let me give you the engagement checkpoint I promised. If you care about healthy aging, natural strategies, and honest science without the nonsense, subscribe now and join our family of wellness seekers. And tell me your country in the comments so I know where you're watching from. I love seeing how far this community reaches. Also, stay with me, because in a moment, I'm going to reveal the tiny seed I would choose if the goal is supporting dry, irritated, aging eyes in a way that works with your body, not against it. That seed is flaxseed. Not because it is magical, not because it beats every eye drop in every situation, and not because carrots are useless. Carrots still matter for vitamin A, and vitamin A matters for eye health. But when the main complaint is dry, gritty, burning eyes and blur that comes and goes with blinking, flaxseed deserves serious attention. Mayo Clinic includes flaxseed among food sources of omega-3 fatty acids that may help relieve dry eye signs and symptoms. Cleveland Clinic also points to omega-3s and flaxseed oil as support for the oily part of tears, while reminding people to work with a clinician and avoid overdoing supplements. That is the hidden truth the viral videos only partly capture. For dry eye, the goal is not one miracle food. The goal is better tear quality and less inflammation over time. So why flaxseed? Because it brings in plant omega-3, especially ALA, along with fiber and lignans, which are plant compounds tied to antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity. Think of inflammation like a low, constant kitchen fire. It may not look dramatic, but over time, it dries and irritates everything around it. In dry eye, that kind of irritation can worsen the surface and make tears less stable. Several studies and reviews suggest omega-3 support may improve symptom scores, tear breakup time, and other dry eye measures in at least some patients. A 2023 systematic review and meta-analysis of 19 randomized controlled trials found overall improvements in dry eye symptoms and tear testing with omega-3 use, especially with higher doses, longer use, and higher EPA levels, though the authors also warned that results varied and should be generalized carefully. But here is where I need to protect you from bad health advice. The omega-3 story is mixed, not perfect. The large NIH-funded DREAM trial found that fish oil omega-3 capsules were no better than placebo for moderate to severe dry eye over 12 months. The American Academy of Ophthalmology now says there is no strong evidence that fish oil supplements help dry eye overall. Medline Plus says the same large study did not support omega-3 supplements for that group of patients. So if someone tells you, take this oil and your dry eye is gone, that is not honest. Different people, different causes, different formulas, and different study designs can lead to different outcomes. That means flaxseed is not a guaranteed cure. It is a reasonable food-based support that may help some people, especially when used as part of a bigger dry eye strategy. Now here's where it gets interesting. When I narrow the discussion specifically to flax, not all the evidence comes from fish oil studies. A randomized trial in people with Sjogren-related dry eye found that oral flaxseed oil at 1 or 2 grams a day reduced ocular surface inflammation and improved symptoms and tear measures compared with placebo over 180 days. Another randomized trial found that an artificial tear formula containing flaxseed oil improved dry eye outcomes, including staining and tear film breakup measures, over 90 days. Those studies are not the final word. One was small, and one used a flax-containing eye drop rather than food. But together they suggest that flax-related compounds have a plausible role in eye surface support. In plain English, this tiny seed is not silly internet folklore. It has a real scientific signal behind it. The first way flaxseed may help you is by supporting the oily part of your tear film. Picture your tears like soup in a pot. If there is no lid, the steam escapes fast. The oily layer of tears acts like that lid. When it is weak, your tears evaporate too quickly, and your eyes dry out between blinks. Cleveland Clinic explains that omega-3 fats can help strengthen the oil in tears. That does not mean your eyes suddenly become perfect. It means the surface may hold moisture better, especially if dryness comes from fast evaporation. This is one reason some people say their eyes feel less scratchy after improving their diet, even before their vision itself changes. The second way flaxseed may help is by calming the inflammatory environment around the eye surface. Inflammation is not always dramatic. Sometimes it shows up as a steady simmer. Your eyes feel hot, tired, irritated, and light sensitive. You blink more. You rub them. Then the rubbing makes it worse. Research reviews describe dry eye as an inflammatory condition, and NEI notes that untreated severe dry eye can even damage the cornea. That is why I do not shrug this off as just dryness. If the tissue stays irritated long enough, the surface can become more fragile. Food cannot replace a prescription when you need one, but a steady anti-inflammatory eating pattern can make the whole system less hostile. Flaxseed fits that bigger pattern well. The third way flaxseed may help is slower but important. It may support more stable days, not just momentary relief. Drops can feel like spraying water on a dry houseplant. Necessary, helpful, sometimes life-saving. But if the soil stays poor and the room stays too hot, the plant still struggles. Food works more like improving the soil. It is not dramatic on day one. It is gradual. It supports the conditions that let the surface behave better. That is why I tell people not to judge flaxseed after one breakfast. Judge it after consistent use, better hydration, fewer drying triggers, and a smarter screen routine. A 68-year-old retired teacher once told me her biggest win was not seeing like she was 20. It was being able to read for half an hour without that sandy, burning feeling, forcing her to stop. That is the kind of improvement I want you to expect. Real, useful, not fantasy. Another example is a 71-year-old former bus driver who noticed that evening TV became easier after 6 weeks of a better dry eye routine built around ground flaxseed, humidifier use, blink breaks, and regular preservative-free drops. Those are not miracles. Those are daily life victories. The fourth piece is something many viral scripts miss. Carrots and flaxseed are not enemies. Carrots support vitamin A, and NEI lists not getting enough vitamin A as one risk factor for dry eye. Dr. Eye Health also points out that vitamin A is crucial for eye health, while leafy greens, vitamin C foods, omega-3 foods, vitamin E, and zinc all matter in different ways. So if you came here expecting me to declare carrots worthless, I will not do that. I would rather tell you the truth. If night vision and surface health are the issue, vitamin A still matters. But if your eyes feel dry, irritated, and unstable, flaxseed may deserve more attention than carrots in that specific lane. The fifth piece is consistency. Successful YouTube videos on this subject keep viewers watching by promising quick results in 24 hours or 3 days. I understand why. People are desperate for relief. But the more reliable message is this: some people may notice less irritation within days, especially when they also fix airflow, blinking, hydration, and drop use. Yet meaningful changes in how your eyes feel usually take weeks, not hours. The better studies on dry eye often run for months. That should tell you something. Your eye surface did not become unstable overnight, and it usually does not rebuild overnight either. Before I show you how to use flaxseed the smart way, I need to cover safety, because this part matters just as much as the benefits. First, do not stop prescribed eye drops, cyclosporine, lifitegrast, or other treatments just because a video mentioned seeds. NEI and Mayo Clinic both make it clear that artificial tears are still a core treatment for mild dry eye, and prescription care may be needed for more serious cases. If your symptoms are severe, one-sided, suddenly worse, painful, or associated with major redness or vision loss, you need an eye professional, not another internet promise. Second, flaxseed is food, but food can still interact with health conditions. If you use blood thinners, have a bleeding disorder, have bowel narrowing, frequent bowel blockage, or trouble swallowing, talk to your clinician before using flaxseed daily. Ground flax also needs fluid. Taking dry flax without enough water can cause stomach trouble and, in some cases, become unsafe for people with swallowing or gut problems. If you take diabetes medicine, blood pressure medicine, or several supplements already, get guidance before making big changes. Cleveland Clinic specifically warns that supplements are not safe for everyone and should be coordinated with your doctor. And if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, talk with a qualified clinician before using concentrated flax products regularly. Third, do not overdo it. More is not always better. I do not recommend jumping into giant amounts because you saw dramatic claims online. Start low and watch your body. Some people get bloating, gas, or loose stools if they begin with too much too fast. That does not mean flaxseed is bad. It means your gut wants a gentler start. And remember, whole food sources are usually a safer place to begin than stacking multiple oils, capsules, and powders all at once. So how do I suggest using it? The simplest approach is 1 to 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed a day with food. I prefer ground over whole because it is easier for your body to use. You can stir it into oatmeal, yogurt, kefir, applesauce, soup after cooking, or a smoothie. If you are older and breakfast is the meal you actually keep consistent, that is the best time. I like routines that survive real life. Fancy protocols fail. Simple ones stick. You can start with 1 teaspoon for several days, then move to 1 tablespoon, then up to 2 tablespoons if you tolerate it well and your clinician has no concerns. Drink water with it. Pair it with a meal, not on an empty stomach if your digestion is sensitive. And keep your expectations realistic. In the first week, you are mostly watching for comfort changes. Less grit, less burning, slightly easier blinking. By weeks 3 to 6, you may start noticing that reading and screen time feel a little less punishing. If you also reduce direct fan or air conditioner flow, use a humidifier, sleep better, and take screen breaks, your odds of noticing improvement go up. Here is the routine I like most for seniors. In the morning, use your regular eye care exactly as prescribed. If you use artificial tears, keep using them. Eat a breakfast that includes protein and 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed. During the day, blink on purpose when using a screen and follow the 20-20-20 rule when possible. Avoid air blowing straight into your face. Drink enough water. At night, if your eyes dry out during sleep, ask your eye doctor whether preservative-free gel or ointment makes sense for you. That combination is far more powerful than pretending one seed can do everything alone. And let me add one more practical truth. A food can support your tears, but blinking spreads those tears across the eye. If you stare at a phone or tablet for long stretches, you blink less. And even a good routine will struggle. This is why I keep pairing flaxseed with behavior. Think of your meibomian glands like tiny oil tubes along the eyelid edge. Warm compresses, better blinking, and less constant screen staring help those tubes flow. Then your tears are more likely to stay smooth on the eye surface. In other words, the seed helps supply better building material, but your daily habits help apply it where it needs to go. That is a much more realistic model than expecting one breakfast ingredient to rescue 8 hours of poor blinking and dry air. I also prefer food-first use over chasing huge supplement stacks unless your clinician directs otherwise. Why? Because the evidence around omega-3 supplements for dry eye is mixed, and whole food routines are often easier to sustain. Flaxseed gives you a modest, repeatable habit. You can add it to breakfast, keep the dose steady, and see how your body responds. That is very different from bouncing between expensive capsules, miracle blends, and dramatic internet claims. When seniors do best, I usually see the same pattern: simple routine, realistic tracking, and a plan that can still happen on busy or tired days. Longevity is rarely about intensity. It is usually about steadiness. And please track your progress the smart way. Before you start, write down 3 problems. Maybe it is burning after 4 p.m., maybe it is blurry print, maybe it is needing drops 6 times a day. Then review again after 2 weeks, 6 weeks, and 3 months. This matters because memory plays tricks on us. When you track clearly, you stop guessing. If nothing improves, that is useful information too. It may mean your main driver is not nutrition. It may be medication, meibomian gland dysfunction, autoimmune disease, eyelid inflammation, or something else that needs direct treatment. A 66-year-old retired accountant I once spoke with did exactly that. Her notes showed almost no change at 2 weeks, and she felt discouraged. But by week 7, she wrote, "Using drops less at my desk, Less burning when I read recipes. That is how gradual progress often looks. Another 73-year-old former mechanic realized his problem was not only food. He needed flaxseed, yes, but he also needed to stop sitting under a vent and start taking blink breaks. When he fixed both, the difference became obvious. Sometimes the seed matters. Sometimes the system around the seed matters even more. Now let me tackle the phrase better than drops, because I know that title is why many of you clicked. My evidence-based answer is this: flaxseed is not better than drops for instant lubrication. Drops work faster. They are often necessary, but flaxseed may help in a different way by supporting the tear environment from the inside, especially when dry eye is tied to inflammation and poor tear stability. So, if your question is, should I replace my drops with flaxseed? My answer is no. If your question is, can flaxseed help me rely less on drops over time as part of a smarter routine? The answer is maybe yes, and that is where the real promise lives. I also want to warn you about one more misinformation trap. The National Eye Institute says omega-3 supplements did not affect cataract or age-related macular degeneration in AREDS 2. So if someone claims a seed cures cataracts or stops all retinal aging, that goes beyond the best evidence we have. The strongest support here is for dry eye comfort and tear film function, not for dramatic reversal of every age-related eye problem. I would rather give you a smaller truth that helps than a huge promise that fails you. So here's my bottom line. I'm Dr. Alina Serratia, and if your eyes feel dry, scratchy, tired, or blurry after 60, flaxseed is one of the most reasonable tiny foods to try. Not because it is magic, because it is accessible, affordable, and biologically plausible. It may support the oily layer of tears. It may help calm inflammation, and it may work best when you combine it with proper drops, better hydration, less screen strain, and medical care when needed. That is not hype. That is smart longevity. If this helped you, type yes in the comments so I know to make more videos like this. And don't forget to tell me your country. Like this video, share it with someone whose eyes are always bothering them, and subscribe if you want simple, evidence-based senior health tips you can actually use. Your eyes have carried you through a lifetime. They deserve daily support, not neglect. Start small, stay steady, and let your habits protect your vision one day at a time.